Holy crap, guys, what is happening, guys? Welcome back, guys, to a brand new video, guys. Tomorrow I have a very important test coming up. Regardless of your position of whether you find the test easy or not, I'm doing my theory tomorrow, and I just hope that it goes well. If it doesn't, and I fail, I will definitely put that in the video, and if I pass, I will put that in the video. If you're seeing this video, we could go either way, because if I fail, I will definitely put that in the video. Let's just hope it goes well tomorrow. I hope y'all are doing well. Let's just wait until tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, and I'll talk to you about everything then. It's this video, by the way. It's this video. It'll be next. It'll be the next clip, you know. But for me, it'll be tomorrow at 1 that I do the test. So, yeah. Hello guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and I already done the intro. Look, I have recorded this video 1 trillion times in my room. The sound was off, I spoke too long, other shit, okay? This is the best angle I can get to make it look like the other YouTubers' videos. Other YouTube videos like this really did help me, and I want to try my best to help you. And I really hope that this video does, in all seriousness. Now, I did end up getting 47 out of 50 in my multiple choice, and 57 out of 75 in my hazard perception. Obviously, you need 43 out of 50 to pass the multiple choice, and 44 out of 75 to pass the hazard perception, and you need to pass both. I don't want to talk for too long, so if some parts of the video I'm talking a bit faster, it's because I want to kind of speed up the video, so I apologize for that, but I'm going to try and be as professional as I possibly can. I'm going to start off this video with before booking the test, then I'm going to go on to tips, then I'm going to go on to the experience of me going in there and everything, and final thoughts. This video shouldn't be too long, but if need be, I will give you timestamps. I had about 50 something lessons before I actually took my theory. The reason why I took my theory was because my driving instructor, back whenever lockdown had kind of ended, like you're allowed to do lessons again, he said, look, in case there's another massive lockdown where you can't do the theory test, why don't we just get yours out of the way? Plus, you're getting to a point where you're not at the stage where you can do the practical test, but you're getting close. He actually told me if lockdown didn't happen, I'd be driving by now. I mean, like, actually. That's great news, but I'm just taking it lesson by lesson. Some people do it before their lessons, the theory. Some people do it during. That's fine. I would say don't leave it too late where you're actually ready to drive and you haven't got your theory done. Driving on the road can help you with signs and stuff like that, but you may also need to actually revise. Some people say it's common sense, some of it is, some of it isn't, but I'm going to get into that in a minute. So basically, I booked my theory test for 2 months in advance, giving me 2 months to revise. The other dates were either too close or too early in the morning or whatever, so that's the best I could have gotten. That was basically me booking it. I switched from manual to automatic lessons. It's been great so far. I'm actually enjoying it so much more. I'm going to be driving in automatic anyway, but some people prefer to do it manual, so that's fine. That's basically me booking it. I had to ring up because I booked it online 5 times. Money was taken out. I was like, oh shit. But it ended up not going through. That's why I had to book it 5 times, because every time it came up, this hasn't gone through, doing again. And I didn't know they were taking the money out, but it was just pending. They weren't actually, it just was pending, and then they brought it back in, obviously. I actually ended up having to ring the guy, and he was like, hello, what can I do you for? And I was like, our theory test's back on, and he was like, yeah, do you want me to book one for you? And, you know, he booked one for me for the date that I had wanted. Anyway, that is pretty much the experience of booking the test. If you can't get it online, ring. The funny thing was, someone actually, whenever I was at the theory test centre, before going into the room, a guy in front of me had actually used another website, and he spent £40, because obviously it was social distancing, but I could hear, and the one was like, yeah, you should use gov.uk, and then we'll redirect you to NI Direct. Just use the official just use the official website so you don't spend too much, because it may be like at the first like link you'll see it, but go to the actual one. Anyway, so in terms of revision, the main advice I'd say is use different resources. I've seen some of these videos where people, that's how they revise, they've got good intentions. But look, I don't agree with people who just say, use an app or use a website. I would say use as much as you can. See this? Pass your driving fucking DS app. But basically, you can just do practice mock tests and stuff. And look, you can fucking barely turn the thing off. That's how old my DS has gotten. But anyway, so there's that. There's this. It has all the questions and answers for each topic. You got know your road signs, which I'll go into that in a second. Looking over the highway code, and even this, which has got mock tests, but they're in the form of paper, so like that. I also used apps, websites. Please use different resources as much as you can afford. Don't like get stuff if you can't afford it, but use different resources, because listen, the more resources you use, the more variety of how they're going to ask the question you'll get, because you'll get some resources that ask the question one way, another resource will ask you the question a different way. So the more apps and more things you use, more of a variety. Whenever I went into the actual test, the wording wasn't the problem for me, because I'd use as many different resources as possible. So that's one thing. I'd also say learn over all the topics, all 14 topics, a few times. I use different apps like WeDrive, Theory Test Success, the official DVSA app. That really did help. The study section of the DVSA app, reading over it and doing the theory test questions. And then one time I just went over all the questions, 750. This book does say there's actually 960. So just go over as many things as you can. Also with this book, it is broken up into the different sections, if you can see there. So the more sections you go over, if you go over them all, you'll get a range of the different questions, which will help when it comes to the actual test. Also do loads of mock tests in your spare time, on a trip, in your bedroom, wherever. Because the more of these mock tests you do, the higher of a chance of you passing. Because, let me break it down for you. So, you do a mock test, you get a few of them wrong. Maybe whenever you're first learning how to drive, you get more wrong. You can basically look over those questions, hit the explain button, look it up on Google if you have to, and it will explain to you what the answer is and why. So you'll have not only the question and answers, still even looking over the questions and the answers helps, but the context, why the answer is the answer, also helps you a lot, and that's what you can do. Also, in terms of mock tests, look up on Google hardest mock test questions. Now, my actual theory test wasn't that easy, but it wasn't that hard. I would have got 50 out of 50 if it was easy. Even if you prepare yourself for the hardest questions, you'll have a range of the different questions, and there'll be less surprises on the actual day. The more questions and the more things you expose yourself to, because you may end up going in and you're like, oh, common sense, but you may end up going in and, oh shit, what the fucking parameter of the distance, of the miles, of the kilometers per every time you cross the moon and the sun. What would happen if Ethan and Alex from Car Throttle exploded in one? You'll have gymnastic mind. Oh, what is that where you have to do gymnasts in your mind? What is that thing called? We have to mental gymnastics, right? Mental gymnastics. You don't want to be going in there doing fucking mental gymnastics. Just learn as much as you can, okay? Road signs. Now, the road signs that I got, end of dual carriageway, if you can see there, it was either trams only, or I think it was tram route. It was tram route ahead. You may get easy ass questions like that, but you may also get hard questions like the one with the toad, migratory toad route crossing. You may get fucking some weird ass questions. You may get like, what does that mean? What does the cattle mean? What does this mean? Revise as much as you can. Also, look over the highway code. You may say, oh, it's easy, it's basic. I'm not saying to look over the easy stuff a million times, but even getting the easy stuff in your head would actually help, because it means not only do you know the harder stuff, but but you know the easier stuff as well. So you don't forget anything, because you may be revising hard stuff and then forget the easy stuff, if you know what I mean. So just give the highway code. A friend of mine gave me this. Just give that a look over, okay? The more resources you use, the more your brain will get attached to it. Also, don't be too, like, what's the word, like, serious or worried when it comes to the actual test. Because if you do revision and you're like, oh shit, I don't get this, I don't understand this, you're going to, like, wreck your brain. Kind of put yourself in a scenario where you're driving along mentally. You're like, what are the questions? Like, what should you do if your car breaks down in a tunnel? Try to get out if it's safe to do so, or stop at the very edge, okay? Put yourself in that position. Read the questions and put yourself mentally and see if that helps. And have fun with it, you know? Play the fucking weird DS game or apps. I'll show the apps that I've got. And try to, like, be like, oh, cool, I'm learning to drive. It's kind of like, after I do this, I'll be able to take my practical. Have fun. If you're an essential worker, you may have less time, but still try to have, like, don't be worried, okay? Don't be like, la, la, la. Don't take it too lightly, but don't at the same time take it too heavily. Also, following that, take breaks. Don't sit there for hours. Have short studies. Take a mock test. Look over a section. Look over something. And then take a break. Because for my GCSEs, I sat for hours doing a mock. Because mocks were longer. Because it was an actual, like, test. So what I would say is take less time than you would. Maybe you already passed and you took loads of time. Maybe you think I should take more time. That's fine. In general, I would say take shorter, like, don't over revise. Don't overwork your brain. Don't burn out your brain, okay? So that's the main tips that I could give. Be prepared for the actual day. Know what to bring. Know what you can and can't do. Whenever you're there, you do get a sheet with the rules. Just skim over that. But get to the point where you can skim over that. Understand what it's like in the actual day, because that would help a lot. I know your test centre may be different, but just watch videos and the general gist of it may be there, okay? That's pretty much all I can give you. Revise early and advanced so you know what works for you. You would think looking over all the questions and answers works for me. Using only the apps, using only the websites, using mock tests works for me. The earlier you revise, the more you know what works. But don't revise too early, or don't revise and then take a big break, because you may forget some of the stuff. Or you may revise and you're like, oh, I'm fine. Wait a few days and you may end up forgetting some stuff, or picking an answer that's very similar. But if you had revised a bit more, you'll know that's similar, but that's the correct answer, if you know what I mean. That's pretty much the tips that I can give you. I would also say to make sure you look at the hazard perception, even if you find it easy, maybe easy, whatever. Make sure you look at mocks of hazard perceptions, and you'll be granted the pass guarantee, which gives you loads of tasks that you can do, which is awesome. Also, make sure to look up anything you are unsure about. This could be in the form of a YouTube video or just a quick Google search. It could be about distances, for example, road markings. Anything you're unsure about, give it a look up so you are refreshed on that subject. Now, let's talk about the actual day. So my parents and I went over. We had to drive for like 45 minutes. The address was 22, so we'd seen the big 22. We knew, okay, that's it there. And we went in there. Well, I did, because no one else is allowed to go in. It was funny. I went in, the guy said something 6 times. I had no, like, what was he saying? Well, what? And then I was like, what was that, mate? He said, yeah, you need to wait outside. Oh. So I stood outside. 20 seconds later, or 30 seconds, he was like, coming in. Anyway, I went in. Basically, there was him sitting at the reception, another guy. He was like, okay, let me see your provisional. In Northern Ireland, at least, you need to show the paper bit once. He looked over the paper bit. Okay, that's good. He said, date of birth, your name. That's pretty much what he said. And he said, okay. He gave me the rules. He said, go up to number 5, and there you go. So I went in the lift, pressed number 5, looked over, la la la, there's the rules. There you go. Went up. Of course, you have to wait, socially distancing, but also wait for someone. So you go out of the left to the right. whenever my turn eventually came, they were like, okay, you read the rules? I said, yeah, okay, put that in the bin. Probably because they don't want other people touching it, but it's kind of like wasteful. Yeah, okay, just put that in the bin. And then they just took what's your license number, what's your date of birth. They weren't that strict. They still took precautions, but I'm guessing if you were actually trying to cheat, you'd be a bit more worried. But if you're not, it's not that bad, just go in. So basically, they took my details. They're like, okay, that's fine, that's awesome, take a seat. I was outside the lift, I was in a wee hall, and I went into a room where there was like seats at the sides and at the back, sat down, and in the middle was this guy in like this reception sort of area. And then he eventually called me. Well, there was other people there, but they let me go. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention this, they give you a locker whenever you go in. Like I was saying, you go out of the lift and you go in, they give you a locker key. This was the funniest thing. So basically, I was putting the code in, and the code got stuck, and there was this hot chick like waiting, because I was like kneeling down at the bottom trying to put my stuff in, and there was this hot chick with a fucking tiger mask. It was so cute. She was waiting, but my code got stuck, and the lady that was working there was like, yeah, your code got stuck. So I had to put my code in more, and then put the locker, basically all my phone and all was in the coat, so that was fine. And it was basically a key with like a wooden bit, like a wooden what am I doing? What is it? A wooden stick, you know what I mean? Like a wooden thingy. Basically, you take that and then you sit down. The guy calls you up. There's this wee like UV bar scanner thingy. You put your provisional through that. Beep, 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 beep. He asked me your date of birth, license number, your name. Basically, what happened was after the guy called me up, he was like, okay, you can go there. So to the left of me, there was this wee corridor. You wait there, and there's this woman and someone else that's sitting. They monitor the room, but they're in like a wee glass dome, so they can see into the room, but they're in another room, if that makes sense. So they basically called me, someone in front of me, and that's where I heard I was telling you that he used a different website. But he went in, they gave him a number, like for example 10. He goes, sits at number 10, that's his computer. So they call me up, they're like, okay, this wasn't the exact shirt I was wearing, but they said anything in your pocket, your shirt pocket, I had to basically like put my pocket inside out, the back pocket as well. And she was like, okay, let me see your wrist. I'd say wear like a short sleeved shirt, it'll be easier to just show them. And you go like that, you go in your glasses, there you go. And she basically, asked me the same questions: date of birth, number of your license, your name, whatever. And she's like, okay, Robert, go into number 11. I was actually number 11. So I went into this room to the left of me, and it was like a wee room. It wasn't wee, but it wasn't massive, like. And it had different computers in each section. So there's like barriers to the side, kind of like a fucking toilet cubicle, right? But there's no door, right? You just go in to the side, right? You sit down. I had the voiceover for the entire thing, which was good, so it blocked out some noise. But basically, you sit down. People were saying there was a question about what colour is grass. That was only one question, and it took you 2 minutes. It just says, flag a question. Click the next button, and that's basically what it does. You do that, that's a tutorial, you go on to the actual thing. It's really clearly laid out. I can't remember what the first question was, but there was questions like, what should you do when going down a hill? And it was use the lower gear and use your brake carefully. The case study was just a written. Maybe it's in Great Britain that it's a video or coming soon. It's a video, but for right now, it was a written. And one of the questions was, what is the max speed in a dual carriageway? Now, if you were to read the scenario, the first sentence says you're towing a trailer, so the answer would be 60, because it's 10 less than the actual speed if you're towing a trailer. I flagged 6 questions. They were just questions like, what should you do when you come to a crossing and your guy says to go? Should you lift up both barriers, lift up one barrier, lift up half a barrier? I was like, I wasn't sure about that one, so I flagged that one. Another one was, what should you do when you first get going before you drive? Should you check your brake lights, headlights? Should you check your radio? I wasn't sure. I ended up going with brake lights because you had the trailer on. Maybe it was the brake lights. It doesn't tell you what questions you get right or wrong, so I wasn't sure. I had a few easy ones. I can't remember them exactly, but they were easy enough. And then after that, you get a 3-minute break. But basically, I took the whole time, whole 50s. I was like, you know what, paid for it, might as well. Looked at, I changed a couple, don't know if they were right or not, because they were the flagged ones. Maybe I changed them and got them right in the end, don't know. What happened was, there was another question: what should you do when the police indicates left? Should you immediately go left, pull over to the left, turn left, it was pulled over to the left. So I got that one as well. Just wee basic ones here and there. Not too difficult. I clicked next and it immediately took me to the hazard perception. It didn't come up, do you want a break? I immediately clicked next, probably away from that, and all I seen was a picture of the headphones. So you can take a 3-minute break, but I clicked a bit too soon after it finished because it just took the whole time. And I went on. That was fine enough. It was done anyway. So I'd say go over the questions once, flag a few of them if you're not sure, go back. If you don't want to spend the whole time on it, don't. But I did. I'd say do that. But if you don't want to, that's fine. So then you go on to the hazard perception. It gives you a video. Click when there is a hazard. But the worst thing happened. So I got 7 on the multiple. 4 clips. I got 5. 5 clips. I got 4. 2 and 2 clips, 3 and 2 clips, and 1 and 1 clip. I think I know what the 1 and 1 clip came from. Basically, I was doing a hazard perception and all I heard was and I was like, what the hell was that? I looked over and then I looked back and the brake lights were on, fucking car crash, and I was like, oh shit, I missed it. So I clicked, and probably whenever I clicked, I got the 1 point. Look, if someone coughs, try not to look over. I don't know where the 2 and 2 came from, or the 3 and... Because I tried to click as soon as I could. Maybe I missed it a wee bit, because it's a bigger computer monitor, so I was probably looking in another direction, then I seen it, then I clicked. It's CGI, so it's easier, but it's not too easy, because if it was too easy, I would have got 75, but I got 57, so that was decent. That was one of my best, and normally I'd get 52, sometimes I'd get 60, but that was still decent. 47 for the actual multiple choice was decent in my opinion. After that was done, you had to put up your hand, and then basically, like I was saying, the glass dome the ladies were in, one of them just seen me and she was like, come on. So I went down and she was like, okay, that's awesome, go to the locker, get your stuff. I was like, the locker this way, and she was like, yeah, go to the locker. And then I realized, fucking to the right of me, oh shit, there's the lockers. So I turned right, went in, got my stuff out of the locker, and the guy in the middle, like I was saying with all the chairs, the guy in the middle basically was like, he handed me the results. They weren't very stern, they were actually nice. They weren't like, yo, what's up guy, high five, but they were like, alright, what's happening, could I please have, you know, your number, could I have this? And they were really nice. And the guy, he didn't say well done, because I don't think they can, but some people said sometimes they had experiences where the people were like, oh, well done. You know, I didn't have that, but the guy was like, good luck. You know, he said good luck to me. Oh my I always had to wear a face mask, but whenever I got out of my test, I accidentally took my mask off, and I was like, oh shit. The guy didn't say anything. I was like, oh shit, and he's like, is everything okay? I was like, accidentally took the mask off, and he was like, okay, just, you know, but it's important to keep it on. There was no one there, so I kind of forgot myself, right? So I put it back on, went in, got my stuff out of the locker, guy gave him a certificate. Some people were saying maybe it was years ago he got a book, so I didn't get a book, so I was like, I didn't get a book with it. Did it still pass? Went to the left, maybe there was a breeze, because they folded just to cover the results, so there was a breeze, and then I looked, and oh, the results were there, and then I got, obviously, you already know what I got, so I was like, yes, I got out, and then my parents had parked a wee bit further down. That's the only place they could park, so I was walking down, like, saying hi to everyone, like, yo, what's up, my guy, what's up? And then I was at this crossing, the people on the other side were crossing, so I was like, I'll cross as well, but it was a red light for us, you know, green for them, red light for us, so I went, and then whenever I was going, they got across safely, but whenever I was walking, there was this van that was like fucking right up here. I'm surprised he didn't be like, fuck off the road, you wanker, or something like that. No, I was like, oh shit, there's a van, oh sorry my guy, you know. So I crossed the road. It would be ironic if I like passed my theory and then just got knocked over in a road accident. That would have been the most ironic thing. But basically I go, and then I see my mum across another crossing, and I'm like, you know. But basically, look over the topics. Don't be worried. There may be a point where you're like, oh shit, I'm worried. Should I pass? Should I feel I want to get it over with? I would say take your time. Read the questions. They are clearly laid out, in my opinion, in the actual test, but you may find otherwise. Have fun with it, but also take your time and make sure you understand what you're being asked. This is going to be a long ass video to edit. Hopefully you guys understood it, and hopefully it's a good enough video for you. Watch other of these videos. There's people that really do make good points and really do make clear videos. I would say book it in advance. People say only book it when you're ready. I'd say book it in advance, but don't book it in like a week if you're not ready, obviously. Book it a wee bit in advance to give you a goal to go to. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that you guys feel, go fuck yourself. No. Have a good one. Stay safe, guys. And I will see you in the next one. Peace, guys. Have a good one and take care. Da-da-da.